Now let's talk about exiting your company. And first, let me debate this or remove the debate from the table. A lot of people said, no, I'm never going to sell my company. At one point, you're going to exit your company, probably with your feet front, but you will exit your company at one point. And a lot of people said, I'm going to give it to my kids. I'm going to inherit to my family. And I was like, yeah, but you want to inherit a company that is worth very little, or a company that is worth more, or you want to inherit a company with a lot of problems, or a company that runs on its own. Here's the mindset you need to have, is you're going to build and scale your company if you're going to sell it, even if you don't want to sell it. Because if you just give it to your kids, you're going to give them a better company that is ready to be sold and has all the steps or pillars to be successful without you. A company that is sellable, it's a company that could be successful without you, the founder or CEO in the company. If the company depends on you to survive, it's impossible that it's going to be sellable. So you have to build a company that is sellable and scale it that way to give freedom to you, to your family members, whatever. And if you want to sell it, it's going to be sellable at one point. And here's the second thing. Most of the companies that are sold around the world is because of a change of lifestyle of the owner or CEO. There's a sickness in the family, there's death in the family, there's something that changes your life or your lifestyle. And that day you said, I want to sell it. And you want to sell it as soon as you can. And I hear and I work with a lot of CEOs that are stuck. And they tell me, I hate to run my company. I cannot wait the day I sell it. But they come to me saying, I want to sell it today. And I'm like, yeah, but your company is not sellable today. I need 2 or 3 years working with you and your team to make it sellable for the right price. You could probably sell it today, but the price you're going to get is much, much lower of all the work you've done. And the first time I really understood this and put it in perspective is when I went to Babson College. I did my MBA in Babson College, supposedly the best entrepreneurial MBA in the world, like for 23 years in a row. And I took a class with Jeffrey Timmons, already passed, but he was the main faculty at Babson. And he had a class called harvesting. And when I said, like, why Jeffrey Timmons talking about harvesting? We're not farmers. We're not talking about fields. And the description of the class said, all the work, all the time, all the effort, whenever you get back your effort, get back your value is when you sell your company. And if you do the analysis or the analogy with a harvest, you buy a land, you plow the land, you put the seeds, you water it, you put sun, fertilizers, everything, you get the crops, and then you're harvesting and getting your value. That's the way entrepreneurs get the value of their work. Yes, you're going to get distributions in the process, but when you really get the big chunk of the value that you create, all the energy, time you put in, all the investment, is when you sell your company. And I'm surprised how many entrepreneurs, they put a lot of time, energy, they read books, take courses of everything on how to grow and scale their company, but they do very little when they sell the company. They go to market and say, I'm ready to sell the company. They hire an investment bank and said, investment banker, how much can I get for my company? The investment banker tells them, in your industry, you get paid 6 times EBITDA. You're making $1 million or $10 million EBITDA. I'm going to get you a price for 6 times that. That's completely the wrong way of doing it. It's just so many mistakes in that process. We've helped a lot of entrepreneurs sell their company, and we've seen what's the right way and what's the wrong way. And that's definitely the wrong way of doing it. What's the right way to do it? Let's talk a little bit of why is the wrong way. First, you're accepting a price of industry price. I hope you're running a company that is better than the industry. Why are you going to get paid the same as the industry? Second, if you go to an investment bank and they sell you at that industry average, that's the easy way. And the investment banker, they want to sell your company as fast as they can so they could get paid. And they're not going to do the extra work to really get you the value that you build and produce. Third, as entrepreneurs, that's why we're entrepreneurs, because we saw a mistake or we saw a problem and we got things on a lower added value and took it to a higher added value. That's entrepreneurship. That's exactly what we do in our companies, except when it comes time to selling. We say, I'm not an expert on selling. I have no idea where to sell a company. I'm going to go to an investment bank and whatever they tell me I'm going to do. That's why we do it the wrong way. The entrepreneurs will usually find better ways to do things. The CEOs, that's our job. That's why we got a company to the level that we are. Doing and spending all the time, energy, consultants, money, and everything on scaling it, I ask that you have the same mindset when you start talking about harvesting or the process of selling. That's why we believe is the wrong way. Now let's talk about how to do it right. And to do it right, there's a lot of steps. Let me walk through the process. And by the way, I could talk for hours on how to do it right. I'm going to give the main steps. First one is decide you're going to get the price and the value you built. And that's a mindset, that's a decision you have to get. Second, you have to understand your freedom point. And let me explain why this is important. Whenever you sell your company, you want to be financially free after that. I've seen a lot of CEOs that they're tired or they have a lot of debt or whatever, and they just give the company away. They sell their asset, they get some money, but it's not enough for them to retire. It's not enough for them to get to the freedom point. And now they don't have an asset to really grow to that freedom point. Working for someone else, it's a much slower place because you're leveraging a company, an asset, a team members, brand, and everything. And the best way for you to get your numbers with your company. So we always recommend entrepreneurs, CEOs, business owners that they understand what's their freedom point, how much money they want to have for them to be able to retire before they sell the company, and try not to sell the company based on that. And one more small caveat that I like to put in is understanding your lifestyle and where are your lifestyle. The time where you spend the most money in your life is between 50 and 55, more or less, when your kids are going through college. I've seen entrepreneurs that they sell the company when they're 45, and they say, I just need $100,000 to retire. When your kids are in college and you're buying them cars and helping them buy their apartment, your expenses go to $250 a year, and you build your retirement plan spending 100. Now you have needs of $250 a year, and then you're going to get depressed. So really understanding your lifestyle, where in your cash cycle or your life cycle, and be able to understand really your freedom point based on your full life, not just where you are today. So first, decide that you want to do it right and maximize the value. Two, understanding your freedom point and based on your life cycle, what's going to be that freedom point that you're going to be free the rest of your life. Third, understanding valuations, because this is really important. There's three types of valuations. The first one is what we call a asset valuation. I have certain assets and I just sell my assets. And I don't know if you remember Pretty Woman, that's what this guy used to do, buy companies that had more value in assets than what the company was worth, and then dividing them and selling the assets. That's the worst sell you could do, because usually they will pay you less than what your company is worth it, because your company is not generating cash or profit or has a lot of debt, and you have to sell for assets. That's the worst valuation. Second one is EBITDA, or times EBITDA. And that's a typical valuation by an investment banker, and say, hey, your industry, you get paid between 6 and 7 times EBITDA. You have 10 million EBITDA. I'm going to give you 60 to 70 million. That's it. And that's the industry. And you get paid the same as everyone else. You're probably going to push for 1 times more EBITDA, but that's where you are. And the third one is what we call a strategic sale. And I will explain next couple of minutes that before we finish the video. And there's 2 stories that I'd like to talk or explain for this. The first one is what we call Rembrandts in the attic. And this was taught to me by John Ratliff, a great friend and mentor on how to sell companies. And John says, imagine you and I go and see a house, and the house is in the market for around $1 million. And I go and see the house, and I walk the house, and I see there's a lot of furniture and old paper on the paper walls and all that. And I was like, why are you selling the house like this? It was an older couple. They passed. They don't have kids. And we need to sell it for the state or whatever. And you get the house as is, with all the furniture, all the paintings on the wall, everything. It's for sale with the house. I was like, okay. So I see the house, and I'm like, it's a little bit old furniture, whatever. I need to do this remodel, but okay, the house worth $1 million. I really want the house. I'm going to offer $1.05 million. And then you go and see the house, and you walk through the house, and then you're going on the second floor, and you see a door in the roof that goes to the attic, and said, hey, can I go and see the attic to see how well the house is protected or in what shape? And the realtor said, yeah, go to the attic. So you go to the attic, and you're walking in the attic, and you see there's a Rembrandt in a corner. You were like, wow, there's a Rembrandt in the attic. I know that Rembrandt's probably worth $10 million. And you go down to the house and tell the realtor, hey, I get the house as is. Yeah, with everything. Like everything in the house is mine when I buy it. It's as is. And you were like, wow, yeah, the house is worth $1 million, but that Rembrandt is worth 10 million. So I'm really buying 11 million of assets. Everyone thinks it's worth $1 million. I'm going to offer $1.05 million just in case. You offer $1.05 million, you win the house. Next day, you go and get that Rembrandt, take it to New York, get it to Christie's, and they sell it to you for $10 million, right? So all the companies, we have Rembrandts in our attic. The problem is that we don't know. It's usually in the corner with dust, and it's something that for us is not that important, but for certain buyers, it's extremely important. I'll tell the second story and then how you find your Rembrandts. The second story is, imagine me, Daniel, I invent this phone. It's an amazing smartphone, and I build this phone and I start selling it. And first year I sell 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, whatever. And you come to me and said, I want to buy your assets. I want to buy your phone company or your technology company. And I say, great. Let's say I'm doing 10 million in EBITDA. I'm growing really fast. And they say technology companies are at 10 times EBITDA in fast growth. Because mine is too fast, growing too fast or whatever, I'm going to sell it for you to 15 times EBITDA. And I think I'm stealing on the price. And you said, okay, I'll buy it from you. And I was like, woohoo! 15 times EBITDA, I'm super happy. But imagine you are Apple and you buy this phone, you branded Apple and put it in all the Apple distribution system, all the stores and everything. How much are Apple going to make with my phone the first year? $1 billion, 2, 10 billion? How much is that invention worth for Apple? It's really important that you put a price, not in what it's worth for you, it's what it's worth for your client, whoever is buying. So that's strategic sale. And the way you do it is you understand your assets and who are the potential buyers and what's a Rembrandt for them. What do they want to be able to do that? And based on that, you understand if you have to do a strategic asset sale or a valuation based on EBITDA. If you really want to understand that, we have a quick assessment below. You could go to the assessment, really understand how your companies work today, just to get an idea. But then let's get into a phone call. If you really want to sell your company or you want to prepare your company for selling, even if you don't want to sell it, please let us know. We have experts on preparing companies on how to really make it into an optimal process so it's sellable at any time. If you have a change of lifestyle or anything, or you want to inherit it to the next generation, you will inherit a much better asset that will be successful regardless if you're in the middle or not. Or if you want to sell it, we'll be happy to help you go to market and really get a strategic valuation, not just a valuation based on EBITDA or based on your assets.